Since the dawn of time, human beings have lifted their eyes to the night sky, seeking wisdom in the dance of stars. Constellations became sacred stories, planets became divine messengers, and the heavens themselves became a mirror for the soul. In temples, deserts, and mountains, ancient peoples read the language of the cosmos as a way to heal, to guide, and to connect with the eternal. Tonight, let us drift into those celestial traditions. We will move gently through sacred astrology, where myth, prayer, and starlight merge into one soft stream of peace. If these stories of the stars bring you rest, consider subscribing for more journeys into sacred traditions. And if you feel called, share in the comments where you're listening from, so together, we may form a constellation of dreamers across the world. The night is gentle. The air carries no weight, only a hush. Above, the heavens open slowly, like a curtain of silk. The stars glow faintly, as though they have just been painted by a careful hand. And in this stillness, the ancient story begins. Long ago, when the earth was young and the voices of humankind were soft, people lifted their eyes to the night. They saw the sky not as empty, but as alive. Not as a ceiling, but as a sacred scroll stretched across infinity. Each point of light was a mark, a sign, a word placed there with intention. The sky was thought of as writing, and those who gazed at it believed the divine was speaking through the shapes of the stars. You can almost feel it now. The hush of the earth, the shimmer above. A deep quiet settles in, as though the world itself is waiting to be read. In Mesopotamia, where rivers wound their way through fields of grain, priests stood on temple towers. They studied the night like a scribe studies parchment. The stars moved, the planets wandered, and every shift was recorded. Not for curiosity, but for meaning. To them, the stars carried the will of the gods. A king's fate, a nation's future, the weather of tomorrow, all could be found in the turning of the heavens. The scroll was endless, yet legible to those who listened with patience. Imagine the priest on a high ziggurat, a torch flickering behind him, casting a long shadow. His eyes trace the line of Orion. He sees a hunter, strong and eternal. He sees protection, order, guidance. And in that vision, people sleep safely, trusting the night's script. To the Egyptians, the sky was a goddess herself. They called her Nut, the one who arched her body across the world. Her arms and legs touched the four corners of the earth. Her skin was filled with stars, each one a jewel on the robe of night. When people looked upward, they did not see distance. They saw her embrace, holding them in silence. Each star was like a grain of sand poured lovingly from her hand. And so the scroll became not only words, but breath. Every sunrise was her opening, every sunset her closing. The story was eternal, yet always unfolding. Can you feel that image now? A sky not of emptiness, but of warmth. A blanket of divine presence stretched above you. It softens the body. It slows the heart. It tells you that nothing above is random. All is written with care. In the cool air of Greece, philosophers and poets read the heavens like a poem. Constellations became heroes, animals, and journeys. Orion hunted. Perseus rescued. Pegasus flew. The sky was not only sacred, it was storied. Every soul could look upward and find a tale that touched them. Children would hear the stars explained not as fire, but as memory. See that star, their elders would whisper. That is the spirit of a hero, placed there so he will never be forgotten. And in those words, the night lost its fear. Darkness became narrative. Silence became presence. Each point of light was a reminder. You are not alone, and every life has a place among the stars. In China, the night was a map of harmony. Heaven mirrored earth, and the stars aligned with palaces, rivers, and mountains. The emperor ruled under the mandate of heaven, and the movement of the stars confirmed his right to sit upon the throne. The scroll above was not chaotic. It was order, balance, rhythm. The Big Dipper pointed the way, circling like a compass in the eternal sky. It reminded all who looked that life, too, has direction. Imagine standing in a quiet garden, lanterns flickering, silk robes brushing the grass. The stars shine overhead, reflected in a pond below. The sky is mirrored on the water, and you realize, above and below, heaven and earth, spirit and body, all are part of the same script. The sacred scroll is written twice, once in the sky, once in the heart. Even in the vast deserts, nomads followed the stars like gentle guides. The North Star shone steady, unwavering, pointing always to the same place. It was a word written bold on the scroll, a word of constancy, a word of home. Travelers lay upon the sand, wrapped in simple cloth, eyes fixed upon the shining script above. The stars gave them comfort, telling them that even in endless wandering, they were being led. How quiet it must have been. No sound but the wind. No light but the fire in the sky. A man drifts into sleep, knowing that the stars will keep watch. The scroll will not close. The words of heaven never fade. Across cultures, across centuries, one truth was held close. The sky speaks. Not in loud voices, but in gentle ones. Not in sudden commands, but in patient whispers. And those who rested beneath its glow felt their lives woven into something eternal. The stars are like seeds of thought, scattered across the dark. The moon is like a lantern, carried by a quiet traveler. The planets are like wandering monks, crossing the scroll in slow procession. Every motion is a sentence. Every flicker is a breath. And together, they tell a story of belonging. Now, as you listen, imagine yourself beneath that ancient sky. The air is soft against your skin. The earth holds you gently. Above the scroll unfurls, endless, patient, luminous. It does not rush. It does not demand. It only glows slowly, faithfully. You read it not with your eyes alone, but with your heart. The stars tell you that life is written with care, that nothing is wasted, that even silence is part of the sacred script. The ancients believed that dreams, too, were connected to the stars. When you drift into sleep, your soul is said to rise upward, brushing against the scroll. You carry back fragments, images, feelings, whispers like tiny words collected from the heavens. Dreams are reminders that you are part of the same story. And so, as your eyes grow heavy, you become like those who came before. You look upward. You listen. You let the words of the sky settle upon you. And slowly, they lull you deeper. Each star is a pause. Each constellation is a sentence. The scroll becomes softer and softer until it feels like a blanket being drawn across the night. Rest in this truth. The sky is not empty. It is written full. The divine hand has left its marks. They are gentle. They are kind. They are enough. Let your breath move like the stars, steady, unhurried, eternal. Let your body sink into the earth, as though being read like a line in the great story. Let your spirit drift upward, into the calm, into the vastness, into the words that need no sound. The sacred scroll of the sky is still open. It will remain open long after your eyes close. It will remain open long after dreams carry you away. Now rest. The story above is endless. The words of the stars are safe, and you are part of them. Let us drift onward as the scroll of night glows softly. Now rest as the stars return. The night unfolds like a scroll of velvet. The lamps of the heavens flicker awake one by one, as though a careful hand is lighting them. The air is warm and still, carrying the faint memory of distant rivers. The earth is quiet. The sky is alive. In the cradle of Mesopotamia, where two great rivers embraced the land, there stood temples that reached upward like stairways for the soul. Their steps climbed toward the sky, brick upon brick, until the watcher could stand above the world and feel closer to the stars. These towers were not built for kings alone. They were places where earth and heaven met, where time itself was measured in starlight. High upon those ziggurats, Babylonian priests kept their nightly vigil. They were called Baru, the watchers of signs. To them, the heavens were not silent decoration. They were living words, breathing messages written in light. Each glimmer of Venus, each curve of the moon, each path of Jupiter, these were sentences on a cosmic page. Imagine the scene. A torch burns faintly in the corner, its flame small against the vast darkness. The sand is cool beneath the priest's feet. He tilts his head to the heavens, where the planet Venus glows with a steady brilliance. To him, Venus is not only a light but the goddess Ishtar herself, the bringer of love and war, fertility and fate. Her rising foretells harvest. Her setting speaks of change. Her movements are prayers written in shining strokes. The priest's voice is soft. He murmurs ancient chants, syllables woven from the oldest tongues. They do not sound hurried. They drift like low wind, wrapping around the stones of the temple. The chants are not only for prophecy, but also for comfort, healing the anxious hearts of those who wait in the villages below. The watchers of Babylon did not stare at the sky with restless eyes. They looked with patience, with reverence. Every star was a guardian, every wandering planet a messenger. The moon, most faithful of all, became their great clock. Its growing and fatting, its bright crown and hidden face, marked the rhythms of planting and prayer, of journey and rest. They wrote these movements on clay tablets, pressing careful lines into wet earth. The tablets dried beneath the sun, holding forever the pattern of stars and planets. These records were not only numbers, they were memories of the divine. Each mark was a bridge between human hands and eternal sky. You can almost hear the scratch of the stylus, the quiet of the night, the steady breathing of the priest as he copies the heavens into clay. The sky above, the tablet below. Two mirrors of the same truth. To the Babylonians, Jupiter was the star of kings. When it rose bright and clear, rulers felt their power confirmed. When it dimmed, they grew uneasy. Priests would whisper counsel, saying that the gods had written their will across the sky. And so the fate of nations was read in the wandering of light. Yet these same stars also brought peace to the common heart. Farmers looked upward at the glowing arc of the constellations and knew when the waters would rise. Travelers lifted their eyes to the North Star and knew which way would bring them home. Mothers soothed their children by pointing to the moon, saying, "The goddess watches while you sleep." The heavens were not distant. They were close. They leaned down like gentle teachers, guiding without sound. On certain nights, when the air was especially clear, the watchers would mark the dance of Venus against the dark. 5 times she would rise as morning star before completing her circle. Her pattern drew a great pentagram across the sky, though few could see it with mortal eyes. To the priest, this secret design was sacred. It spoke of balance, of cycles, of eternal return. It whispered that all things are connected, that nothing drifts alone. And so their chants rose again, soft and steady, carrying this wisdom back into the earth. Some said the chants could heal, that the very sound of them smoothed the spirit, easing sorrow and quieting fear. The vibration of the words carried the rhythm of the stars themselves. They were not loud. They were not sharp. They were like the low hum of a river flowing beneath moonlight. Picture the great city of Babylon as the priest descends from his tower. The streets are calm, the houses of mud brick glowing faintly in the firelight. Beyond, the river moves silently, carrying the reflection of the stars upon its skin. The people sleep, unaware of the careful watching above them. They rest in trust, knowing the scroll of the sky is being read on their behalf. And in their dreams, perhaps, they too drift upward. Perhaps they walk among the stars, brushing their fingers across the glowing words. Perhaps they feel the nearness of gods, the gentle presence of something eternal. The line between waking and dreaming, between earth and heaven, becomes soft. The stars become both guide and cradle. Even now, their wisdom lingers. The tablets may be broken. The temples may have turned to dust. But the sky remains. It still carries the same signs, the same movements, the same whispers. The moon still swells and fades. Venus still brightens in the dawn. Jupiter still wanders in his royal path. The scroll is still open. The words are still written. You too can look upward and feel their gaze. The same stars that touched the eyes of Babylonian priests now touch yours. The same light that guided their chants now guides your breath. Time folds softly. Distance fades away. Only the eternal glow remains. As your body grows heavy, let the image of that ancient tower stay with you. A lone watcher standing in silence, eyes lifted to the infinite. His chant rises, low and steady, and the night receives it. The stars shimmer, patient and kind. The clay tablet holds their patterns. The scroll of heaven turns its page. Let this image quiet you. Let it ease the edges of your thought. The stars are written, the chant is sung, the tablet is sealed. There is nothing more to be done. Only rest, only drifting, only the slow turning of the sacred sky. The watchers of Babylon have closed their eyes. The torches are dim. The night deepens into silence. And above it all, the scroll of stars continues to glow, eternal and unbroken. Let us drift onward, carried by the chants of the past. Now rest as the stars return. The night settles over the Nile like a long sigh. The river glimmers in moonlight, its surface smooth as polished stone. Palm trees sway gently at the edges, their shadows stretch thin upon the earth. A soft wind moves across the sand, carrying with it the scent of water and lotus. Above, the stars awaken, opening their patient eyes one by one. This is Egypt, land of river and desert, of temple and tomb. Here, the sky was not only beauty but scripture. Every light above was thought to be eternal, a guide for both gods and mortals. The stars were not scattered at random. They were placed with purpose, like jewels set into a crown. The temples along the Nile were not built by accident. Their stones rose in harmony with the heavens, aligning with the rhythms of sun and star. Priests studied the skies with reverence, knowing that every season, every ceremony was written in light. To walk into a temple was to walk into the sky itself, carved in stone and shadow. Imagine standing before one of these temples at dawn. The horizon blushes with the first glow of the sun. The columns stretch upward, painted once in bright colors that mirrored the hues of the morning sky. Carvings of falcons, lotuses, and stars line the walls. The temple breathes with silence, waiting for the first ray of light. And then, at the right time of year, the sun rises in perfect alignment. Its rays pierce the temple's doorway, striking deep into the holy chamber. Light touches the statue within, awakening it, as though the god himself has stepped down into stone. This was no chance. This was design, written by those who read the heavens as carefully as others read papyrus. The star Sirius held special meaning. It was called Sopdet, the star of renewal. When Sirius first appeared at dawn after weeks of absence, it foretold the rising of the Nile. The floodwaters would soon come, bringing life to the dry earth. Fields would drink deeply, and grain would grow. The people celebrated, for this star was not only light in the sky but a promise of survival. Priests watched the horizon through temple gates, waiting for Sirius to shine. Its glow was a sacred signal, telling them that rebirth was near. They saw in it the tears of the goddess Isis, falling upon the land, nourishing the earth and bringing back life. The star was not distant. It was as close as the river, as intimate as breath. Orion, too, was honored. The Egyptians saw in its stars the god Osiris, ruler of the afterlife, the one who died and rose again. His constellation stood tall in the southern sky, a hunter's shape written in fire. To gaze upon Orion was to remember the cycle of life and death, of sorrow and renewal. For Osiris was not gone forever. He was reborn, just as the crops returned, just as the sun rose each morning. The pyramids themselves were aligned with Orion. 3 great stones rising from the desert, mirroring the 3 bright stars in his belt. They were not only tombs, but ladders of light, guiding the pharaoh's soul into the eternal heavens. The king, once he passed, would join Osiris among the stars. His journey was written in both stone and starlight, eternal and unending. Inside temple walls, the ceilings were painted deep blue. Across them stretched golden stars, shining against the dark background. To step inside was to step into the night sky itself. The priests walked beneath these painted heavens, their chants echoing softly through the halls. They carried torches that flickered like smaller stars, as though bringing the constellations down into the chamber. In these sacred spaces, the cosmos and the earth became one. The walls told the stories of gods. The ceilings mirrored the stars. The floor was the ground of Egypt itself. Every temple was a universe in miniature, a reminder that the divine was not far away, but woven into the very air, stone, and light around them. The sun, too, was worshipped with great devotion. It was Ra, the mighty traveler, who crossed the sky each day in his golden boat. At dawn, he was a child, rising with new light. At noon, he was a strong ruler, blazing with power. At dusk, he aged, his light softening, his strength dimming until he slipped beneath the horizon. But this was not an end. Each night, Ra journeyed through the underworld. He faced shadows and trials, sailing through hidden waters. And each morning, he rose again, reborn. This daily cycle told the Egyptians of hope, that light always returns, that death is not the final word, that rebirth is eternal. Temples were built to follow his path. Their corridors and chambers lined up with the movement of the sun, so that its rays would fall perfectly into sacred spaces. The architecture itself became a prayer, a steady alignment between heaven and earth. Picture now a priest standing alone at twilight. The desert cools as the last warmth fades from the sand. He lifts his eyes to the horizon, where the first stars glimmer awake. Sirius shines faintly, a jewel against the darkening blue. Orion rises behind it, steady and strong. The moon curves softly overhead, silver against the vast silence. The priest's lips move in gentle chant, words that float like smoke into the night. His voice is not rushed. It moves slowly, in rhythm with the stars themselves. The chant is for the gods, but also for the people who sleep along the riverbanks. It asks for renewal, for protection, for eternal peace. And as his voice fades, the stars themselves seem to answer. They do not speak in sound, but in light, steady and constant, as if whispering, "All is well." The people of Egypt believed that their souls would travel among these stars. Death was not a loss, but a passage. The body was placed in a tomb, yes, but the soul soared upward, joining Osiris, shining forever among the constellations. To live well was to prepare for this journey. To die was to join the eternal dance of the sky. This belief brought comfort to hearts that feared the dark. For the night was not emptiness. It was filled with companions. Every star a spirit, every constellation a story, every dawn a rebirth. And so the temples stood as bridges, bridges between river and sky, between earth and heaven, between mortal time and eternal light. Their stones have weathered centuries, their paint has faded, their carvings softened by wind and sand. Yet when the sun rises in certain seasons, it still pours into their chambers. When Sirius appears, it still foretells the river's swelling. When Orion rises, he still shines with the dignity of Osiris. The scroll of the sky remains open, just as it was for them. It is still written with care. It still guides, still comforts, still speaks. Now let the image rest in your mind. The temple walls are cool and steady. The stars shimmer in silence. The river flows on, unhurried. You drift as though lying upon its surface, carried gently by the current. The sky bends above you, vast and kind. There is no hurry. There is no burden. Only light, only cycles, only eternal return. Let your breath follow the rhythm of the Nile. Let your spirit rest beneath the painted ceilings of the temple. The stars keep watch. The gods walk with you. The night is safe. Now close your thoughts, like doors of a sacred chamber. Let them rest in shadow and silence. The eternal sky will remain above you, glowing with patience, steady as the Nile itself. Let us drift onward, carried by the stars of Orion, by the rising of Sirius, by the golden path of the sun. Now rest as the stars return. Night has settled, gentle and deep. The air is quiet, like a veil of silk resting on the earth. Above, stars shimmer in their slow, endless dance. They shine with the same patience they have kept for ages, watching, guiding, whispering across the sky. You find yourself standing by the banks of a wide, glimmering river. Its surface is smooth as glass, carrying the moonlight like silver threads. Each ripple is calm, each wave unhurried. This is no ordinary river. It is the river of time, ancient and eternal, flowing from the beginning of creation toward the far horizon of the soul. The old teachings of India call this flow Jyotish. It means the light of the heavens, not just the stars above, but the very light that weaves through life itself. Planets, stars, the moon, and the sun, all are seen as luminous guides, marking the rhythm of existence. Their movements are not random. They are gentle steps in a cosmic dance, shaping the tides of fate, carrying the soul through lifetimes, teaching balance, teaching return. Beneath the soft night sky, you drift closer to this river. Its waters carry no noise, only a low, steady hum. It is the hum of time itself, like a slow heartbeat, like breath moving in and out. And as you listen, stories rise from its current. Stories of the Vedic seers, who long ago sat by sacred fires, gazing at the heavens, listening to the language of light. They taught that every being is part of this great rhythm. Each soul, like a spark, journeys through the turning ages. The planets mark the milestones. The moon softens the heart. The sun carries the fire of life. Saturn teaches patience. Jupiter brings wisdom. Each one is a teacher, a traveler in the sky, guiding the rivers within you. As you rest by the river's edge, you see faint lights moving across the sky. The constellations unfold like lotus petals, one by one. The great wheel of the zodiac turns, not in haste, but with the calm dignity of eternity. The sages named this wheel the Kala Chakra, the wheel of time. Its spokes are the month, the season, the lifetimes. Its hub is stillness. Its rim turns forever, carrying all things. In the Vedic vision, time is not a straight line. It is a circle, like the river that bends and returns, always flowing, always familiar. Each soul drifts upon it, sometimes carried gently, sometimes challenged by hidden currents. But the river never abandons. It always carries onward, toward healing, toward awakening. You gaze into the river and see its depths glow with hidden colors. Each shimmer is a memory. Each spark is a life once lived. The river carries them all with tenderness, letting no moment be lost. Every sorrow becomes part of the flow. Every joy glimmers like starlight upon the water. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is forgotten. The sages spoke of karma as the footprints left upon this riverbank. Each step shapes the next. Each choice sends ripples through the water. But karma is not punishment. It is simply balance. A dance of giving and receiving, learning and remembering. The planets moving above remind the soul of these balances. They tilt the river one way, then another, always guiding, always teaching until harmony is found. Now as the night deepens, you see the sky open wider. The Milky Way stretches like a shining bridge, crossing from horizon to horizon. It looks like another river, mirroring the one before you. One river flows through time on Earth. The other flows through the heavens above. Together they sing the same song, one of endless continuity. From somewhere beyond the veil of night, a soft chant rises. It is low, steady, like the sound of monks chanting near a temple fire. The sound carries the ancient syllables of the Vedas. They speak of life. They speak of truth. They speak of the eternal soul, journeying without fear, carried by the rivers of heaven. The air becomes warm, filled with the fragrance of sandalwood and lotus. In your mind's eye, a temple appears by the river. Its walls are carved with patterns of stars and circles, telling stories of the cosmos. At its center burns a small flame. It flickers, yet it never fades. It is called the Agni, the sacred fire. The seers once gazed into it to understand the heavens, to mirror the stars above with fire upon the earth. The fire and the stars were never separate. Both were reflections of the same light, the light of the soul itself. The temple doors open silently, and you step within. The walls are cool, the floor smooth beneath bare feet. Each step echoes softly, like a lullaby of stone. In the central hall, a circle of elders sit in meditation. Their eyes are closed, yet their faces glow with peace. They are listening, not with ears but with spirit. Listening to the pulse of planets, the songs of stars, the rhythm of time flowing through all things. You sit among them. At once, the river outside flows through you. You feel the sun's warmth in your chest, the moon's calm in your breath, the strength of Mars in your bones, the patience of Saturn in your stillness, the kindness of Venus in your heart, the wisdom of Jupiter in your mind. Each planet is no longer distant. Each one is alive within you. The seers would say that the cosmos is mirrored inside. The rivers of time do not only flow above the sky. They flow through the body, through the spirit. Every heartbeat is a star. Every breath a turning planet. Every dream a constellation waiting to rise. Slowly the temple dims. The flame grows softer, but it does not vanish. Its glow guides you back to the riverbank. The waters are darker now, carrying the stars in silence. The chant fades into the night breeze. All is calm. All is steady. The river of time continues to flow, but you need not follow it now. You rest beside it, safe in its eternal current. It will carry you gently, as it always has, as it always will. There is no rush. There is no end. Only the soft turning of the wheel, the eternal shining of the stars, the light of Jayadish watching over your soul. Let us drift onward, slowly, peacefully. The stars above return to their quiet watch. The river hums like a cradle song. And you rest as the night gathers you in its gentle arms. Now sleep as the heavens keep their eternal rhythm. Night drapes itself across the world like a velvet cloak. The air is still, touched by the faint scent of olive trees. Above, the sky blooms with countless stars. They do not seem scattered. They form patterns, shapes, whispers in the heavens. Stories older than memory live there, glowing softly in silver light. You stand upon a quiet hill. At your feet, wild thyme grows in silence, and beyond, the sea shimmers beneath the moon. The ancient Greeks once stood here too. They tilted their gaze upward, tracing the stars with patient eyes. To them, the heavens were a book, each constellation a chapter of divine wisdom. Gods, heroes, and gentle spirits were written in light, not only as tales, but as guides. The night sky is a temple without walls. Its ceiling is eternal, its lamps are the stars. When the Greeks looked upward, they saw not emptiness but connection. They saw courage, fate, love, and harmony painted across the heavens. Each figure in the constellations was more than myth. Each was a reminder, a mirror for the soul's journey. You lift your eyes now, and the first story unfolds. Orion, the great hunter, rises in the east. His belt of 3 bright stars shines clear and steady. Orion walked the earth with strength and pride, yet even he could not escape the touch of fate. When his time ended, the gods set him among the stars, not as punishment but as remembrance. He became a sign of endurance, a figure to remind all souls that courage is not lost to death. It continues, shining, guiding others through the darkness. The stars shift slowly, and near Orion a gentle glow appears. It is Sirius, the dog star faithful companion. Always close, always loyal, it rises beside him each season. For the Greeks, this was no simple star. It was the light of friendship, of loyalty that survives the passing of years. It told them, even in the vast silence of the cosmos, bonds of love remain. The breeze softens, carrying the faint sound of waves against stone. You look higher and another tale forms. There, bound to the rock of the heavens, is Andromeda, a princess once chained to the sea as sacrifice. But Perseus with courage freed her. The gods placed her among the constellations, not in chains, but in freedom. She rests forever in the night sky, a story of deliverance, of light breaking the hold of shadow. When the Greeks looked at Andromeda's stars, they remembered hope. That even when the night feels endless, release is always near. Beside her, Perseus himself shines. His stars are bright, like scattered jewels across the dark. In his hand, he holds victory, but not pride. He is remembered as one who brought light into despair. His constellation reminds the soul that bravery is not only in battle, but in compassion, in saving what is gentle and pure. The stars continue their patient tale. To the north, you see Cassiopeia, her chair tilted in the heavens. She was a queen whose pride once brought storms upon her land. And yet, even her fault became a guide. Her crooked constellation taught the Greeks humility, the balance between beauty and wisdom. Her stars shimmer as a reminder that even flaws can become lessons, lighting the way for those who follow. The night deepens, and far above, the great swan stretches its wings. Cygnus, graceful and endless, glides across the Milky Way. Its wings are made of starlight. Its beak points toward the horizon, leading souls along the river of the sky. In Greek thought, swans were sacred, symbols of music, love, and the soul's flight beyond the body. As Cygnus moves silently above, it seems to carry all weary spirits into a realm of peace, into the soft currents of eternity. Slowly, the Milky Way itself comes alive. To the Greeks, it was not dust and stone. It was milk spilled from the breast of Hera, queen of the gods, feeding the cosmos with divine essence. It stretched like a bridge between worlds, a silver path of immortality. When souls gazed upon it, they felt comfort. For the heavens themselves were nurturing, alive, and filled with care. As you rest beneath this boundless dome, you sense the deeper meaning of these myths. They were never only tales of gods far away. They were mirrors of the heart. Orion's courage lives in human struggle. Andromeda's chains echo the fears we release. Cygnus, flight, reflects the longing for freedom and grace. Each star was a guidepost, reminding every soul that life, with its joys and sorrows, is part of a greater harmony. The ancients believed that by knowing the constellations, the spirit found its place in the order of all things. To live with virtue was to align with the heavens. To look upon the stars was to remember that human life was woven into the very fabric of eternity. The night grows quieter still. The sea is now only a whisper, the trees only a shadow. Above, the constellations keep their silent watch. They do not rush. They do not fade. They remain steady and patient, carrying myths as lanterns through the ages. You breathe slowly, resting under their gentle glow. The stories of gods and heroes drift around you like soft music. Each star hums with meaning, yet none demand. They simply shine, steady and calm like guardians of sleep. And now, the sky begins its long arc westward. The constellations tilt, but they do not fall. They drift as you too begin to drift. Your thoughts soften, like ripples fatting across water. The stories settle into silence. Only the stars remain, watching, cradling, reminding. Let us drift onward, carried by their light. Now rest, as the stars return to their patient places. Sleep under their ancient gaze, calm and untroubled. The sky is your shelter. The myths are your lullaby. And the night, endless and kind, carries you deeper into peace. The desert at night is a place of vast silence. Grains of sand stretch to the horizon like a golden sea, frozen beneath the moon. The air is cool, touched by the faint breath of distant winds. Above, the heavens are unveiled in full clarity, each star sharp and alive, shining as though newly born. It is here, under such endless skies, that mystics once walked. They were seekers, pilgrims, wanderers of both earth and spirit. The desert was their sanctuary. The stars, their guiding scripture. You drift into this quiet landscape now. The dunes rise like gentle waves, their shapes soft and curved. No sound of city, no call of market, no weight of worldly concern. Only stillness and the watchful presence of the night sky. The mystics found in this emptiness a fullness. For when all distractions fade, the soul can finally hear its own music. And that music was often echoed by the stars. Look upward. The constellations here glow brighter than in any other place. The desert air holds no veil of cloud or mist. Each star is a lamp upon the firmament. To the desert mystics, these were not random sparks. They were stations, waypoints, signs of the soul's journey. Some were seen as angels, burning with eternal devotion. Others were gateways, openings through which prayers could rise like incense. The sky was alive, whispering guidance to those patient enough to listen. Night after night, the mystics traced the slow turning of the heavens. They saw how the moon waxed and waned, like a breath of silver. They noted how the wandering planets traveled their paths across the stars, as if carrying secrets from one constellation to another. In these patterns, they read stories of time itself. Not time measured only by hours or days, but time as a river flowing from past into present. From present into the mystery of tomorrow. By watching the sky, they felt the flow of life. They learned to move with it, not against it. The desert was their teacher. Its vastness reminded them of the infinite. Its silence reminded them to still their minds. And the stars reminded them that even in the darkest night, light remains. Every dune, every breeze, every shadow cast by moonlight became part of a sacred text. The world itself was scripture, and the mystic was both reader and student. Imagine one such seeker now. He walks across the cool sand in silence. His robe brushes softly against the ground. His eyes are lifted, always lifted, to the jeweled dome above. Each step is steady, guided by the stars. For him, the constellations are not only markers of direction. They are companions. Orion to the west, reminding him of courage. The Pleiades to the east, shimmering as a cluster of gentle sisters, reminding him of kinship and care. He walks not alone, but in the company of heaven. At times he pauses, kneels upon the sand and closes his eyes. He listens not with ears, but with the quiet of his heart. The stars above, though silent, speak to him. Their message is not of command, but of harmony. They remind him, all things move in rhythm. The planets circle, the moon turns, the earth spins, the breath rises and falls. When one lives in rhythm with the stars, peace flows like a hidden spring. The desert mystics also believed that the stars could heal. Not in the way of medicine or herbs, but in the deeper way of the soul. A troubled spirit might find calm by gazing at the steady light of the night sky. A weary traveler might regain hope by tracing the return of a familiar constellation. The stars were promises that order exists, that chaos does not rule forever. To look at them was to remember that the universe itself is kind, and that the soul has a place within it. They often spoke of the stars as mirrors. Every bright point above reflected something within. A strength, a struggle, a hidden dream. By watching the heavens, one came to know the self more clearly. The stars did not dictate fate like unbending rulers. They revealed patterns, like ripples on a river's surface. To understand those patterns was to steer the boat of life more gently, more wisely. Imagine the mystic now resting on a dune. The sand holds him softly, like a bed shaped by the earth. He looks upward without effort. The stars meet his gaze, patient and eternal. In that meeting, he feels his heart steady, his breath slow. He is reminded that he too is made of light, that within his body burns the same essence that glows in the sky. The stars are not distant. They live within, as sparks of the divine. Hours pass, though time feels suspended. The moon climbs high, then drifts lower. The constellations tilt, tracing their slow arc toward the horizon. And still, the desert remains silent. The mystic feels no loneliness, for the sky is his companion. The desert is his temple, and the stars are his teachers. The ancients who followed this path left behind no grand monuments of stone. Their legacy was written in memory, in wisdom passed quietly from heart to heart. They taught that to walk under the stars with open eyes is itself a prayer. That every step taken in harmony with the heavens brings healing, not only to the body, but to the soul. And now, you too rest beneath this desert sky. You feel the cool air brushing gently against your face. You sense the sand beneath you, warm from the day, releasing its heat in slow breaths. Above you, countless stars glow without effort. They do not compete, they do not rush, they simply shine. And in their calm, you also grow calm. The mystics believed that such stillness was a gift. That sleep itself was a kind of journey, guided by the stars of the inner sky. When the body rests, the spirit drifts across unseen constellations, learning, healing, remembering. And when dawn comes, it returns renewed, like the moon after its dark phase. The desert remains silent, a cradle of peace. The stars remain steady, keepers of timeless stories. And you remain safe within their light. Your breath slows, your thoughts soften. Your body loosens like sand sliding gently down a slope. The sky above holds you in its embrace. Let us drift onward, carried by the silence of the desert. Now rest, as the stars return to their watchful places. Sleep under their ancient gaze, calm and untroubled. The desert is your sanctuary. The mystics are your companions, and the night, endless and kind, carries you deeper into peace. The night opens slowly, like a curtain drawn back across a stage of stars. The hush of the world deepens, and in that hush, the heavens seem to lean closer. Each constellation, each glimmer of light above, feels like an ancient whisper. And as the listener drifts deeper into stillness, the stars remind the soul of something very old. That the skies are not only above us, but also within us. In the desert of the mind, beneath the boundless dome of night, the zodiac was once seen as a wheel of destiny. It turned endlessly in the heavens, marking seasons, measuring time, and guiding human hearts through their journeys. But the mystics of many lands taught a gentle truth. The wheel was not only carved in the stars, it was carved in the soul. Every person carried the heavens inside. Every breath, every thought was touched by constellations unseen, yet deeply felt. The outer sky and the inner sky mirrored one another, like twin reflections across still water. Picture now a vast circle of light suspended in the night air. 12 signs, 12 gentle flames, moving like petals in a wheel. Each flame glows softly, like a lantern floating on a dark river. This wheel does not frighten nor command. It soothes. It tells the spirit, you are part of the eternal pattern. You are not lost. The ancient ones, gazing upward from mountain tops or temple courtyards, would trace these patterns. They saw in Aries the spark of beginning. They saw in Pisces the deep sea of endings and returns. And in between, they saw the dance of life itself: growth, rest, struggle, harmony, longing, and fulfillment. But more than the stories of gods and heroes, they saw a secret. The zodiac circle was also the heart's circle. The cosmos had always been whispering to each soul, look within, and you will find me. Breathe with this thought now. The fire of Aries glows in the pulse of courage that rises quietly within you. It is the warmth that helps you take the first step, even in darkness. The patience of Taurus rests in the slow rhythm of your breath. Like earth cradling a seed, it holds steady, unshaken by passing winds. The curiosity of Gemini flutters softly in your mind, like twin birds speaking across a morning sky. It is the reminder that your thoughts, your questions, are part of your light. The tenderness of Cancer moves like moonlit tides through your chest. It is the gentle tide of care, the longing to give and receive love. The radiance of Leo burns like a sun within, not loud but steady. It tells you that your soul itself is a flame, never extinguished. The harmony of Virgo breathes in the pauses between your thoughts. It is the quiet order that helps all things find their place. The balance of Libra spreads like a scale across your heart. It weighs nothing but peace, guiding you towards stillness and fairness. The depth of Scorpio rests in hidden waters, deep within. It is the power to endure, to transform, to rise again like a dawn after long night. The wandering light of Sagittarius gleams in your longing for meaning. It is the arrow that always seeks the horizon, even in dreams. The discipline of Capricorn is like a mountain peak within. It is the patience that knows every step has value, and the summit is always reached slowly. The vision of Aquarius moves like wind in your thoughts, carrying dreams beyond the present moment. It whispers of new ways, of unseen futures waiting to unfold. And at last, Pisces, the ocean of the spirit, sways gently in your soul. It reminds you that you are not separate, but part of a vast, endless sea of being. This is the eternal zodiac within. Not written in stone, not bound by fate, but woven softly into the fabric of the soul. It tells you that the heavens above are not far away. They live in your breath, your pulse, your quiet moments of wonder. The mystics taught that to walk through life is to walk the circle of stars. To rise like Aries, to love like Cancer, to shine like Leo, to reflect like Pisces. Every season of life is part of the same wheel, turning and returning. Every joy and every rest belongs to the same eternal song. Now, imagine yourself standing in a field at night. The sky stretches wide, endless, serene. Above, the constellations glow like ancient jewels. And then slowly, softly, the same constellations appear in your chest. They shimmer like embers in the quiet cave of the heart. Not heavy, not sharp, only gentle. The stars above and the stars within hum in harmony, like two strings of the same harp. You feel the unity. You feel the calm. The heavens are not beyond your reach. They are already yours. Long ago, travelers used the stars to find their way across seas and deserts. Tonight, the stars inside guide you across the landscapes of your own spirit. They do not push. They do not hurry. They simply glow, steady as breath, patient as night. The eternal zodiac whispers, "You are whole. You are connected. You are as endless as the heavens." And as the great wheel of stars turns above, it also turns within, marking not the passing of time, but the deep stillness that rests beneath time. In that stillness, you are safe. In that stillness, you are home. Let the stars of your soul shine softly now. Let them cradle you in their gentle circle. No need to reach, no need to hold, only rest. The wheel of light will keep turning, slowly, endlessly, tenderly. Now drift with it. Drift as the zodiac turns. Drift as the stars within glow quietly, like lanterns of peace. The night grows deeper, the sky grows softer. The eternal light remains. And so, let us drift onward. Into dreams, into silence, into the eternal sky within.